What up friends, I'm James, your host, and today I'm going to be reviewing the newest Bastille album, Doom Days. This is the newest album by the British pop rock band Bastille, and ever since gaining popularity with their biggest single Pompeii, they've just been churning out albums and hits on the regular. Unfortunately though, the band seems to have gotten a little bit stagnant at this point. The newest record just feels like a bit of a watered-down version of all of their prior material. The sound is just bogged down and just seems a bit more boring, unfortunately. Quarter Past Midnight is a pretty solid opener to the album, though. Dan's voice is really nice, and I really like that sensual guitar that serves as the build-up to the track. The drum and bass influences on the chorus are also really nice. They add this sort of dreamlike and atmospheric tone while also keeping up the energy for the rest of the song. The lyrics are also pretty fitting to this more somber tone in that they display this portrayal of nightlife and how people interact with each other in the big city and just after hours when they can kind of let loose. I like that atmosphere and I like the way he portrays it a lot. Unfortunately, the album quickly just nosedives into a sense of sleepiness. The first half is especially guilty of this, slowing down so much to the point where it almost comes to a complete halt in terms of energy. Divide, while it has good intentions, dumbs down its lyrical content to almost ridiculous levels. The line, "Why would we divide when we can come together?" means literally nothing. It's a simplistic take on complex issues that are obviously not that easy to solve, and reflecting Bastille's prior work, which also tackles certain topics like this was an insanely mediocre variant of what they've done before. The message on how we glamorize chaos is good, but it's just so underdeveloped that it doesn't even matter. The piano is nice and delicate, but there's honestly nothing really to shake up the melody or the vibe of the song that makes it any more entertaining or interesting. It's just a low, slow point of the album that just doesn't do much. Million Pieces is probably the most generic song on the record. The main EDM-inspired beat isn't that interesting, it's very boring, and it's been done by countless pop artists across the years. The sampled and repeated vocals on this don't help either. The drums, however, do get a bit better during the chorus, but honestly, it's not really enough to save the song, especially with lyrical concepts like not wanting to talk about serious topics at a party. I get it, but why? The title track, Doom Days, I wasn't really a fan of it at first, but it actually did grow on me through repeated listens. Dan's vocals are a bit haunting here, and that's complemented by the eerie guitar and the very hollow and haunting drum machine beat that is the backbone of this intro. The synth as well provides some pretty nice atmosphere that complements the other instruments very well. However, one of the reasons I disliked it at first is it kind of feels like the Dan solo show. It doesn't really feel like the work of a full band, which is what I expected of Bastille at this point. They're an electronic group, they're a pop group, but they're also a band. They have instruments. I feel like they're not showcasing the talents here. It's also a bit short, but the lyrics are pretty good. We realize that we're fucking up the planet and we're distracted by trivial things, and it's just, we're waking up and it's time for us to do something about it. Nocturnal Creatures, however, is a pretty great track. In fact, the second half of the album is much better than the first half. Nocturnal Creatures specifically is a much better instance of the more dancey and electro side of this album. The light piano and Dan's vocals are meshed very well, and the distorted guitar pairs with the vocal repetitions nicely. The lyrics are also pretty similar to Million Pieces, but they're told in a much more subtle and poetic way, which puts it miles above that one. This track just feels like Million Pieces, but better. The last chanting of vocals especially is a pretty climactic and emotional point of the song. It's probably my favorite part of the track, honestly. 4 AM is one of the better slow songs on the album. It has a very warm vibe, like you're just sitting around a campfire or something with friends. This sense of familiarity and human interaction is probably one of the biggest highlights of this song, I think. The main guitar riff is pretty nice, and I like how the instrumental is mainly used to reinforce the lyrics and to establish the setting and tone of the song. The instrumental itself is not really into focus, but it really does push up the lyrics and Dan's vocals to new heights. The horn section at the end especially is a very homely and very warm touch that really just rounds the song off. Joy is the last track on the album, and honestly it's a pretty good outro. It has very similar progression and energy to Quarter Past Midnight, or maybe even Send Them Off from the last album, which kind of brings us full circle when it comes to the sound here. The hollow beat in the guitar buildup is nice, and the chorus with the bombastic drums, vocals, and the choir, along with this dirtier guitar and siren in the background, it just comes together like an explosion of, well, joy. The lyrics are also pretty endearing, talking about this one person who always makes our speaker here feel at home and at ease whenever their name appears on his phone. And I really like the sort of message here, how there's this irony of technology being intoxicating and obsessive while also providing some good and being used as a different form of human interaction. I think that's a really interesting message, and the Bastille kind of plays with that across this album, with some songs about the negative sides and some sides of the positive sides of technology. I think it's good that the album ends on taking the good with the bad. Now, while Doom Days does have some highlighting moments and some interesting moments on the album, overall it honestly feels a bit derivative and uninteresting on the whole. The good moments are largely when Bastille stick to their guns and do what they do best, like on Quarter Past Midnight and Joy, or when their experimentation is more subtle, like on 4 AM or Nocturnal Creatures, when it's a bit more intricate. For me personally, there are too many instances of mainstream EDM beats and synths, and also songs that drift mindlessly with little to nothing that actually holds your attention. All in all, I honestly just feel a bit meh on this album after it's done, which is unfortunate, but them's the breaks. I've never said that in my life. I'm feeling a strong 5 on Bastille's Doom Days, and now let's talk about the album cover. Now, I really like this album cover a lot. It's very similar to past Bastille album covers, where it's set up sort of like this movie poster kind of vibe, with their name at the top, their album title at the bottom with quotations, bottom text, no, shut up. But I really like that sort of aesthetic a lot. It fits their sound. I like the image. It's kind of artsy, but I do like how warm the colors are. It fits songs like 4 AM, and it fits kind of the overall message of the album, with it being about positive human interaction and connection. All the bodies on the cover are very close to each other. So I think it's another good album cover by Bastille. I really like it a lot. But that is my opinion on Bastille's Doom Days. What did you think about this album? Did you love it, hate it, love it, rate it? You're the best. And with that, I'll have to review another album real soon. And until then, farewell.